everybody. This is Jay Stevens of My Wealth Journey, and we are back with another episode of Everybody Knows Somebody Who Knows Somebody Who Knows Something About It. Today, that somebody is Sianni, owner of Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls, and the something is how to be an entrepreneur. So before we get started with the questions, I always got to give the background. Sianni Dean is the owner of Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls. She started her company 1 month after graduating high school in 2017. While in high school, she participated in an entrepreneurial class where she continuously gave her classmates ideas until her instructor finally told her, why not be about that life? And so she followed her own advice and launched her business, Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls. Sianni was involved in a baking and pastry program under Chef Harvey at Willingboro High School, which allowed her to perfect the Cranky Granny recipe. Simultaneously, because she was doing a lot more than just hanging out at the mall after school. Simultaneously, she developed a well-rounded business plan and conducted market research on the sweet roll industry. She has much love for both of her grannies and her mother and admire how their cooking and baking could bring all of the family together to create happy moments. From this admiration, she created Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls in dedication to these very special and loving women at the fresh young age of 18 years old, which is so kind and sweetful, pun intended. Sianni is recently relocated to Austin, Texas to expand Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls, and she was given the opportunity to produce the sweet rolls out of a restaurant here in Austin, Texas. Only 4 months in, she found the perfect location right in the Domain. And let's not downplay the fact that Domain is like one of the few places you can consistently go and have a good time in Austin, which sounded a little shady. Like Austin has a lot of fun places, but it's hard to be able to just say, I'm going to have real estate in the Domain like that. There's a Tiffany's out there, y'all. There's a level to this. There's levels to this. So she opened up her first storefront in the Domain and kept it going. From there, she has expanded her business to include national shipping. So even if you're not in Austin, go ahead to the website and you can place your order. And she has a new location that she'll be opening soon in New Jersey. At only 26 years old, she has already taken the entrepreneurial and culinary world by storm and disrupting the narrative that age limits potential. And she stopped by today to share her advice. So everybody, if you could just, give a nice virtual wave to Sianni. Now, see, I said this knowing that like they can't see you, but picture, they're giving you all this love. They're all like, Sianni. They're so happy for you. I'm sure they're going to put that in the comments later. So let's get started. Thank you so much for coming. Like, I just think I am, your story is so inspirational. I low-key feel like I need to cut you like a picture of you out and put it on my vision board and be like, no, hustle till you break through, because this is what it looks like yourself into hustle. So tell us about this. Tell us, what's your wealth journey? The famous first question. What's your wealth journey? How did you get started?
I have to make one correction really quick. So I'm actually 23. So you added a couple years on me.
Because the math wasn't mathing. I was like, 6. But she graduated. I was like, well, maybe she graduated. Okay, thank you. So let the record stand. 23. She said, I haven't even made it to the quarter century mark, and I'm already doing joke things. You know what? Gen Z better let us know. Okay, thank you, please, and correct me. Dang, man, that really means you on your hustle. Okay, so at 23, your journey is already off to a great start. But what is your wealth journey? Like, how did this get started?
So how everything got started was I used to sell food platters. So basically I had a heartbreak. So, the average 15, 16-year-old has a heartbreak, whatever the case is. I already came up with the idea of Cranky Grannies at 15. Mm-hmm. Heartbreak happened at 16, going on 17. And I remember I was sitting in my mom's kitchen. And I was just I keep saying my mom and dad's kitchen. I'm just twirling in the seat. And I'm just like, I had a lot of negative energy. I'm like, how can I turn this negative energy into something positive? Didn't really have that many funds at the time. Of course, I'm working jobs, but like any young kid, I'm spending as soon as I get it. So I'm like, I really don't like working for other people. I was like, all this negative energy is turning into some money. So I was like, I got like $50 in my pocket. Let's go over to the Acme, which is a local grocery store over in Jersey in the Philly area. Went and bought some food and sold food platters that weekend and sold out. And then I just kept on going. So that food platter money and catering money that I was getting funded Cranky Grannies eventually. So from 15 to 18, I was doing like the market research and everything for the business. And it wasn't one of those things where it's like I thought about it years ago and then it just randomly came back up. No, I was consistently working on it from the moment that I thought about it and was like, you know what, one day I want to make this a franchise, have my own store, and have at least one store in every state, which is still going to happen. Right now, I'm still on store number one, but I mean, one store at 23 isn't that bad, so I'm okay.
Look, wait a minute. That's more than okay. Because let's be clear. One, I know whoever caused that heartbreak is sitting there sucking their teeth and probably can't even look at a cinnamon roll, much less like walk past anything that says Cranky or Granny's on it without thinking, I fumble and I played myself. I know they hurt. It's okay. It's called therapy. You'll get through it. It's not your battle.
Right.
Second off, it is very, very big deal. Like we just can't underplay this. You're like, oh, I'm going to get one in every state. I got one now. No, let's be clear. At 23, because I know good and well what I was doing. I was at Old Navy and Banana Republic slanging some khakis, and I was okay with that. but like, if someone had told me, you could create your own clothing company, I would have been like, no, that's just too much. So yeah, I know you'll have multiple companies or multiple locations, whether you franchise or you want to own them all outright. I know you're going to have them products in grocery stores at some point. And I just know it. I'm speaking that for you.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things we're working towards as well right now.
Because like you're gonna have an Oprah's favorite thing moment where she's gonna be like, "Oh, you can make these rolls to family," and then it's gonna be this viral sensation where everyone's sending pictures to you of like them making the holiday rolls. Oh, you're gonna have a cookbook or something. Like I just
it's gonna be something crazy.
Right. This is a mogul in the making. It's not just rolls. It's my gosh.
I just posted something on Facebook a couple of days ago and I was like, something is brewing in me right now. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm having these feelings like something extravagant, something amazing, and like another level of success is going to happen soon. And I had a couple of people comment under it, like, it was already happening for you, sis, and this and third. And I appreciate it. But I don't think y'all understand the level of success I'm talking about. I have really big goals for, I think for my age, my thought process is very far out. So I'm looking at becoming the next, I don't even want to say the next Diddy, because I want Sianni Dean to be able to ring bells just like Michelle Obama's name or Oprah or Diddy's name, Jay-Z. So I'm on some next level.
You don't have to be the next anybody. You are the Sianni. That's it. And like you are going to be the one that so many other people look to for inspiration, just because you stayed cool, you stayed true to who you are. But you have a work ethic that is far beyond your years, and just a cool, like you're able to see that business side from the future aspect, but you're able to be true to who you are and not feel like you have to conform to some identity, which actually gets us to this next question. There is a lot of information out there, and there's this stereotype that in order to be successful in business, you have to be older. You have to be white, you have to be a man, you have to be heterosexual, you have to have gone to some fancy Ivy League school and have all these networks and connections who are going to give you money and opportunity. And don't get me wrong, having all of those definitely is going to give you an advantage, because that's just the way this world is set up right now. But you have defied all of those. You're like, I'm not going to wait till I'm a certain age. I recognize and own and love the fact that I'm a Black woman. I'm lesbian. I did not have to go and get all this student loan debt. I don't have a bunch of rich uncles and family friends who got to cut me a check for a couple $1 million at seed funding. And I'm just going to do this. So how did you navigate that? Like, what are some of the unique challenges that presented? And how did you pivot and say, okay, I understand you all don't see, like, I'm guessing there were people who definitely could not see that potential in you. How did you navigate that? How did you convince them, like, it doesn't matter what the world says I have to be, this is who I am, I'm going to own that and move forward?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because I remember in one of my literally my very first interview I ever did on a podcast, back when it had to be 18 or 19. So this is a few years back over in North Jersey. I drove over to, because I'm from Philly side of New Jersey, not New York side of New Jersey. So I drove over to North Jersey and I had an interview, and I mentioned in there how, I want to be able to be a great representation or for Black, female, young people. And of course, I want to be able to inspire anyone. But, you know, I feel like that representation matters. And one of my family members was like, why did you have to mention that on there? And I'm like, let's look at it this way. In these history books that we're looking at, we get to see white man accomplishes blah, 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 blah. Now we're starting to see how Black people accomplish some of these things. Now that's putting that thought process in our heads, like, you know, I can do that when I become older. I can become the next Martin Luther King. I can become the next blah, blah, blah. But if we don't see that representation and we only see that representation in other people, we're just going to stick with the mindset of I'm always going to work at Walmart. There is no becoming the next Oprah, Diddy, whoever. Like, I just think that representation really, the next Sianni. I just really feel like that representation matters. And I feel like I got this work ethic from my father, really, my mom and my dad, seeing my dad go so hard and he wasn't an entrepreneur or anything like that, but he worked for a company over in Philly, and he's been working there for about 26 years. So I think that's also where I get my work ethic from. And I hope I didn't just go off the grid with my answer. I'm sorry.
No, your answer was perfect. I mean,
your question started making me think about so many different things.
No, well, look, now this is the time for you to shine. Although I'm sure any room you walk into, you shine. So it's not like there's some, pre-planned answer of what you have to give. I really do believe that there are going to be people that look at you and say, she did it, and that means I know I can do it. Like, you are giving people permission and validation that they can be whatever they really put their minds to. And you're right. While we don't always have to talk about all the different ways that people are identifying themselves, whether it's gender, race, religion, age, any of that, that does not need to be the forefront of the discussion. Your success will be the forefront, but at the same time, that representation matters. And we don't need to turn a blind eye to that just to make somebody else feel comfortable. It's a way to own that and love that and wear your natural hair despite how your twist out wants to act for the day.
Right.
One little curl is determined to be in the front of my face.
And I will add too, though, that in that very first interview, I did mention how I don't want to be looked at because I was 18 when I officially started. I don't want anyone to look at me any different than they will look at that 40-year-old white man. Like, treat me the same exact way, hold me to those same exact standards, because without those standards, I can't grow. And I'm not one of those people who think I know it all. I know I don't know it all, but I'm really hungry for information. Like, I'm one of those people where I'm looking up why is orange. Like, I'm really one of those people. I'm looking up why for everything. And I was one of those kids in school. I'm raising my hand for, if I got a question, I'm going to ask you. So, construct me, teach me things. I'm hungry for the knowledge. If I'm messing up, hold me to those same standards. Don't say, oh, it's because she's young, she can do it. No, I don't need that. Oh, because she's female. Oh, because she's Black. I don't need any of that. I need you to hold me to those same exact standards, because I have very big goals I'm trying to accomplish, and I can't do that if people are trying to baby me because I'm a child at that time.
That's real.
Or even now still.
Yeah, I'm about to say there's still things they could say, like, oh, well, you only got one business. Well, first and foremost, that's one home more than a lot of other people have. But it's still like that could be something where they're like, we're gonna have the bar at this level for you. So
I don't believe in a bar. I'm just going up.
There is no bar. Y'all put that in. I love it. So you mentioned something earlier I want to kind of dig deeper into. You started the business after watching how your parents, how your grandparents, your grandma or grannies, I think it was multiple, how they had this passion for cooking and how it brought the family together. And you also mentioned that your dad was a big part of you getting your work ethic. So it's clear that family, and maybe family, extended family, the cousins and everything else and friends, they feed into what gives you inspiration and motivation. But knowing that you had to leave your home in Jersey to come to Austin, and as someone who was on the East Coast and moved to Austin, it was a shift that I was somebody needs to have a blog out here that says, like, so you left the East Coast and moved to Austin, huh? Especially like coming from an area near Philly. I was in DC. I was like, so this is different. First off, where are the crab cakes? Second off, where is Melanie? But it's okay. But knowing all of that, like knowing that shift, and leaving your family behind, like physically, but not, emotionally, how did you work with that? Like, how did you keep connected with your family? How do you keep them involved in your business? Or is it something where you're like, this is my thing, y'all can come to like the restaurant openings, but like I'm running this? Like, how do you decide how you'll keep your friends and family involved, especially since they're such an inspiration to your business?
So it's funny because my girlfriend actually works for me, and one of my nieces actually worked for me out here too. But back home when I was in New Jersey, they helped out a lot. I have to give a ton of credit to my family and my significant other, because like I'm telling you, if it wasn't for them, a lot of things wouldn't have been as organized. Because I'm a doer. I just get in there and I do it. So sometimes I'm gonna forget about the gloves. I'm gonna forget about the bags, forks, and things like that. And those little small things mean so much, because how are you gonna eat your sweet roll without that fork? If you come in here and you're like, I need 6 sweet rolls and I don't got a bag for you, it's like, goddamn. So I definitely give a lot of credit to them. But honestly, I really don't feel like I have to. There really isn't like a medium where it's like, oh, well, you can't give me advice or you can't ask me questions about this, that, or the third. Because I mean, Cranky Granny's is solely mine, and they understand that though. So I've never felt like they were trying to be too intrusive or anything like that. But I definitely do keep them in mind with everything I do. Like my nieces and nephews are like my home screen and stuff like that. Have my mom as my phone screen. I took the mindset of like what Eric Thomas has said before. He said that he takes a piece of his family members with him everywhere he goes. Like I think he has like a piece of like a shirt or something of his daughters, and like his wife on his phone screen. He's like, put that in front of you so that it can remind you why you need to keep on going. So whenever they do come out here, though, they do help me out. Like for the grand opening, I didn't expect them to come, but they came out here and they helped out with everything. My mom was in here all day. Sisters, niece, and nephews and stuff. Everybody was in here. Dad. So they're definitely included, but not at the same time. Like they don't have to deal with any of the things I'm going through, because everything is 100% mine. But like I said, I do keep them in mind. So it is really easy for me to keep Cranky Granny, keep giving off that family oriented vibe, because we're all still close. Even though I'm all the way over here, it doesn't mean much. It's the only thing is distance, but they're still trying to get me to come back home.
Look, but you're bringing the Jersey location, and you're getting to the point in life where you're like, I can catch flights, not feelings. Like I can be wherever I need to be. I could book a flight today.
Well, we won't be opening up a location in Jersey yet. We did a pop-up shop over there. But we do plan on opening up something over in Jersey, because the amount of love that we got when we were out there was like outrageous. It was crazy. And so I can only imagine if I replicate everything over here and take it over there. It's gonna get scary.
Yeah, I can guarantee you. I'm not saying it's something you have to do. I'm just saying if you're taking requests for the next city, where I'm cool with being after Jersey, but if you could do DC next, and I'm not talking about like Baltimore. Shout out to Baltimore. I love the crab cakes. I love the harbor. I'm not talking way down in Richmond. That's too far. I'm talking about DC proper. Like give us a location, because the number of DC people that reached out to me like, is this really a thing? Y'all like this is really and I was like, y'all would send this to me when I'm trying not to eat unhealthy right now. I'm not trying to eat a bunch of sweets because I'm trying to look summertime. But yes, it's a thing. And yes, I'm gonna stop by because it's that good. These aren't some basic, pop a can, throw it in the oven, cinnamon rolls, y'all. Nope. These are like, you can taste, look, it's a decadence, and it's a treat it's one of those things when it's like, oh, it's payday Friday and I earned this. And you picture yourself, not to say you just go on payday Friday, because let's be clear, treat yourself whenever. But it's really like, just even seeing it be prepared, you're like, okay, well, this was love. It's an experience. It's an experience. So you said your family came and helped you with launching the building. And just so you all know, that's not a virtual background. Like she could run back and touch that counter. That is a brick and mortar store. So
we're closed today. That's why y'all don't see no customers in here.
That's why we got a location. Look, let's tell you what it means. Because let's just let that sink in for a second. You said we're closed today. So we intentionally, when we scheduled this interview, the advice was, let's look for Monday or Tuesday, because the shop is closed. Manifest that real quick. in your skull. Like sizzle, let that sizzle and think it through that your business is so successful. You're like, we can close on Monday and Tuesday. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. They got Sundays. We can close for 2 whole days and we still out here. With a location next to Tiffany's. And I was like, that is gosh, that's the headline, that's the soundbite. It's amazing. Okay, so knowing that you've gotten to this point, and you continue to have more that you want to do, when did you decide that this wasn't going to be a side hustle? You weren't going to say like, oh, I'm going to try to make a few rolls a week and like go to a pop-up shop. And that is a great place to get started. So for people who are exploring that option, trust me, I go to little pop-up shops. I move my merchandise and whatever else I can do. But you were like, no, this is going to transition from a side hustle to a main hustle. It pretty much didn't even have to go to that side hustle step. So how did you navigate that? Like, how did you make that happen?
So literally from day one, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, this is going to work for, like, it's cliche, but this is going to work. I'm going to die trying. Like, that's literally the type of mindset I had from day one. Because like I said, from 15, I was already saying how we're going to have a franchise. Like we're going to franchise Cranky Granny. It's going to be a multi-million-dollar company and things like that. And we haven't hit the multi-million-dollar yet. But I mean, look, I'm well on the way. I got a lot of time still. So I'm not even going to sleep on that. But from day one, I had this mindset. And I think my mindset is really what just kept me going. I don't know if it's a Capricorn in me. I can see just far out. I'm like, it's going to happen. I don't know exactly when. But I just started taking those steps. I started looking into, all right, I need to get that EIN number. I need to figure out how I'm going to pay for this trademark. And mind you, like I said, everything started from that food platter and that catering money. So I took that money and I used to, every time I would get up to like 500, I would wrap it up and put like a rubber band around it or whatever the case is and throw it somewhere. Just keep on saving it. So then I was like, man, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I really don't want to spend it. But I'm like, I really believe in this. And you don't got too many 16, 17-year-olds that's willing to spend money on paperwork. Like, this is just paperwork I'm doing. Like, so I was just taking those steps. So I had a food platter page on Instagram. I took everything off that down and like I had it like under construction and I turned it into Cranky Granny's page. But I didn't let anyone see the logo or anything like that until I started the trademark process, because some people don't know that when it comes to trademarking, first off, you shouldn't let anybody know anything about anything until you start your process. But if I start, let's say I filed my paperwork for Cranky Grannies at 1:23 and 20 seconds, and then you filed your paperwork at 1:23 and 30 seconds for every case. I got my paperwork in 10 seconds before you. So they're going to look at mine and approve mine. If of course, both of us have all of our stuff aligned the right way. They're going to look at mine and approve mine before yours gets approved. So that was my mindset. I'm like, I know I'm going to have all my ducks in line. So I started the process, and that's when I started putting everything out there as far as the logo and the name and stuff like that. Because at one point it was just a sweet rose. Like I didn't let anyone know anything other than like my mom. And like I would throw names out there to different people, and Cranky Grannies is the one that stuck and stuff like that when we doing like different polls and whatnot. But yeah, I really just started the process. Like I didn't say, oh, I'm gonna wait until I'm 19 or whatever. The only reason that I really got started full-fledged once I was 18 was because that's when the paperwork stuff was like getting done. So I would have started at 17 and 16, but didn't have all the funds yet and just didn't have all the paperwork done yet. But I started the process for the EIN, bought the domain website. As soon as I figured out what I was going to name this, before I even got the EIN, I went and bought the domain name off of GoDaddy, and then just kept on going. And I actually trademarked the name before I trademarked the logo, because the logo was still getting worked on. I didn't like the first one that the graphic designer came up with. I was like, how about how much more will it be for me to incorporate my granny's face in the logo? So then she did that. I'm like, this is literally perfect. Like, this is the perfect logo. We didn't even have a strawberry sweet roll yet, I don't think. And we only had 3 flavors, but we didn't even have a strawberry sweet roll yet. But I just knew the strawberry would go perfect with it because I was also doing research like what colors make people hungry, what colors make people happy. I'm going deep into it because I'm like, I want to get the best results out of this company that I possibly can.
There was so much there that I feel like I almost want to have a separate because I was like, I try to be respectful of people's time and not go on and on. But there was so much. So I was going to ask you a question that you really answered, which is why I'm just going to highlight this real quick to make sure people captured it. I was going to ask, what advice do you have for people that are trying to start a business? And a lot of times people will get in their mind. They're overthinking and they're like, ooh, I want to do this, but I got to do this. And they just don't know where to start. And the advice I've received many times, and things I've just paid attention to, just do something. Choose on one day. Like, this is the one thing I can watch a YouTube video on how to apply for EIN. I remember one day when I was starting my business, I was like, this is the minimum I can do today. If I'm super busy, I can fall asleep watching this YouTube video and hope that it just sinks into my mind while I'm asleep. Then when I wake up, I could do part 2, which is like coming up with this. And you're right. There are things that you need to do in silence. Similarly, when I had my logo, so my sister and brother-in-law are artists, and I reached out to them and said, can you create a logo for me? And they gave me, the full suite of like, we're going to have a consultation with you and this is how we put it together, and gave me a chance to go back and forth. These are things that, like you said, the advice that I really wanted to push forward for entrepreneurs. Choose one thing that you can do, but also do what you can do in silence. And know that when the time is right, you can launch things. Because I've warned so I'm in the middle of getting something trademarked, and I have to, and the same thing, I'm hesitant to have that label, that brand anywhere until the trademark comes, and then it's just gonna be an amazing like relaunch, rebirth, whatever else I want to do. Or maybe I just decide at that point, if someone tried to start using it, I'm like, well, this is how much you can pay me to be able to use it. But it's like, build stuff in silence, do what you can. Definitely. And another thing you mentioned earlier that is, I think, top tier advice that people overlook: have a community. For you had your family, and you still have your family. Your family, sometimes for some people, they will not always be the supporters, especially if they feel like they've seen you not do so well in other things. But don't let that discourage you. Find your network, find a small business group, find whatever you can. I have a really good friend that we get online a couple times throughout the week, and we just sit. I mean, we could be on silent for half the call, but we're just sitting on our computers holding each other accountable to get things done. Plus, it's a safe space to like run ideas past someone without, because I've been like, girl, this is what I'm gonna do, and she'll be like, now sis, I understand the energy you have there. Let's think about, is that really going to work? And then there's other times where like, oh yeah, you should do that, and this so you can work with. But you have that, and you're built in your family. No matter where, for the entrepreneurs who are listening to this, for the people who are trying to start their side hustle or transition it to a main hustle, 3 big things there. Just start somewhere. Move in silence and make announcements when it's right, and have your community or your tribe with you. Which is great. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me throw one thing in there too. I hate to cut you off. I feel like Gary Vee whenever I do that.
Conversation.
But, so one of the excuses I hate the most is I don't have the money. Sometimes these people want to start businesses, or sometimes you want to start a business and you don't even know how much it's going to cost because you didn't sit down and actually do the numbers. That's one of the things I did when I was younger. I do the numbers all the time for whatever it is I want. It's perspective for me. So it's like, all right, if that costs $100,000, this is how much I need to make a month, or whatever the case is, whatever. But sometimes you don't even know how much something is going to cost. Something's going to probably be free, like your EIN number or your Duns and Bradstreet number. But you're talking about, oh, I need this. You don't even know really. But it goes back to just starting and actually do that market research. That is one of the things that I push so much. Do your market research, because you can really tell from the people who did it and who did not do it. Of course, there's going to be some people that's going to just catch that break and they just blow up. But for the majority, it don't really work like that. And I mean, the more you know about your company, the more you can speak confidently on it, the better you just are with your company in general. And more people want to buy from confident people. Like, we don't want to buy from someone that's like I have this, for example, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I had a family come from over in Killeen. That's about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here in Austin. And they got about 6 sweet rolls. It was 3 of them in here. So I guess they got 3 for them and then 3 for the people back home. And I told the woman, I was like, y'all gonna wish y'all got at least another 1 or 2 of these sweet rolls. So she goes outside. She's like, okay. She just think I'm just talking. But she said she went outside and she tried it because she's like, why is she so confident in these that she thinking I'm gonna want to buy another one? So she goes outside, tries her banana pudding sweet roll, and then she comes back in and she's like, I need another 6. People buy from confidence. So like that's just one small example. Just know as much as possible about your industry, about your company, because you also never know who you're going to run into. So, I mean, you just need to know as much as possible. So just do your market research. And then that also helps you figure out, okay, how can I become better than my competition? When I was figuring out how I want to do Cranky Granny, I was going up to actual, I'm not going to put no names out there, but I was going up to the competition. And I was asking, do y'all even really like this product? What is it about it that y'all do or don't like? What are some of the complaints that customers are saying to you guys? So that way I could figure out where I can fill that void. So now I'm about to come at you with a perfect product, great customer service, because even back when I was doing pop-up shops, anybody that was rolling with me, whether that be my friend, my mom, my sister, significant other, I don't want you on your phone. I want you standing. This is a uniform. I want my customers to feel like they have the most attention as possible, that they're literally the only person that matters at this moment. Like I put a lot into this. None of these things has been happening by accident. A lot of things, like I'll use a Meta for example. I really don't even know how y'all found out about me. And I have a lot of things like that happen, like the Forbes listing. I don't know how Forbes found out about me. UT don't know how UT found out about me, and so many of these other companies. So of course, certain things happen by accident, I guess, in a sense. But I feel like I put in so much work and so much thought and labor into this that everything I'm getting now, I truly feel like I deserve it. Cause like I know I've done the staying up for 48 to 72 hours and then having to drive other places to go speak at different schools and do catering and I've done all that. So I feel like everything that I'm starting to get now is kind of like the reward of all the hard work that I've been putting in, and I still put in every day. Cause it's not like I'm an absent business owner. I'm here every day.
Clearly, we physically see you. The shop is closed, but I will still be here. And you're right.
I gotta get ready for tomorrow.
Okay. You planted those seeds. The intention you have, the way that you know this is what you want and you're going after it. It's what makes, like you said, it's the confidence that when you speak up, people are going to pay attention. And you're right. So I'll tell you how you mentioned how did Meta find out. So for the context, for those who are just joining us, we first connected through a Meta interview. So I work at Meta, and then Sianni was part of our Black History Month celebration, where we celebrated local entrepreneurs in the Austin area. And all the panelists did a great job. I'm sorry, y'all, we can't release that video. It's Meta proprietary information, but just know it was good. And this is the rollout, pun intended, roll out from that after. But yeah, it's a confidence. It's the knowing that, okay, I don't need to have everything in place, but what I can control, I will have it organized and I will go about it. Now, there's one last question I want to get to. You have talked about work ethic. You have talked about how you hustled, how you did marathon days to get everything in order, how you set this standard and you did not let down, step back, soften it. You said, this is what we are going to do and I'm going to stick with it. But knowing that you did all of that, the flip side of it is self-care. So many times entrepreneurs will just get all into it, like go deep into being involved. And sometimes it's hard to step back and say, I'm going to delegate this to someone else, or I'm going to take a vacation and really turn off and not use your computer. And even for people that aren't entrepreneurs, if you are really busy in your job, I know for me, there are times when I've been so busy that I was like, I haven't slept. I just take longer blinks. And that's like my mini, I'm just like, okay, that was the rest I needed for the next hour. So how do you decide self-care, whether it's saying I'm going to outsource processes so that I don't have to do it, or I am going to have a virtual assistant, I am going to go on vacation and y'all will figure it out while I'm going? Like, what do you say once a month, I'm going to eat whatever I want or sleep and do nothing all day? Like, how do you make sure you take care of yourself through all of this?
Honestly, I feel like that's one of the areas that I neglect the most, but I'm working on. Like, for example, normally I was having back problems for a while. And I know exactly why I've been having back problems. I'm in this position all the time, rolling sweet rolls out, looking down, and driving in whatever position I'm in. And normally I would just ignore that, but I finally got to the conclusion that, like, at the end of the day, with or without Cranky Grannies, I need to take care of myself. So I booked a session with a chiropractor, so now I go regularly and everything like that. So I'll say, I guess that's one example. Another example I would kind of say is my Mondays. I try to dedicate those to me and my significant other, but it's so hard to not do anything for the business. So it's like, that's why I say I kind of on Monday, because, like, yeah, I get to stay in my bed all day, but I'm still posting, I'm still making content. Because it's not like I have a marketing team or anything. Everything that we've accomplished, I've been like this with it. So I don't have a marketing team or anything. I handle all the social media posts, all the emails, all the call, all the texts, everything that has to do with Cranky Grannies. And then I'm also still in here doing all the physical labor. So, I mean, Mondays is really just a day where I don't have to do the physical rolling out or making dough, but I'm still doing behind the scenes work. So that's one of the things we're working on, because I kind of told myself that I'm going to have to sacrifice my 20s.
Sis, don't do that. The 20s, let me tell you how good the 20s are to you, especially because you're in a sweet spot, again, no pun intended, with your 20s. The 20s are when you have a recovery time and a stamina that is unbelievable. My knees were stronger. I didn't need as much sleep. I could eat whatever I wanted, and my metabolism was just fine with it. And then I sound so darn old right now. But the point is, I'm only in my 30s, but I sound so old. It is, a lot of times in your 20s, the limitation is that you just don't have the disposable income. So you're like, ooh, yeah, I want to catch a flight and go on trips with my friends, but I'm gonna have to fly Spirit Air and hope that the plane makes it the way I want it to make it, and they don't lose my baggage, even though they don't let me have bags on the plane. You are in a position where you're like, I have the energy, I have the I hope we could tell you're doing okay. So you can get that done. So don't sacrifice your 20s. I rarely invite someone to my show and then just completely disagree with them, because I feel like that's not being a hospitable. So, but I'm gonna just I need you to, like, so this is what we're gonna do. My Wealth Journey community, all the journeyers, y'all know people who are virtual assistants. I know virtual assistant company owned and run by a beautiful, talented, just smart Black woman. We know marketing companies. I got some marketing people. Tag them in the comments. We are going to make sure, and these people, I need y'all to understand, you have the chance right now to attach yourself to someone who is doing great things. So if you're watching this and you are in you can help with finances, you can help with supply chain, HR, whatever, go ahead and drop your business and say, you know what, I'm gonna give you like 6 months free, because I realize this is the opportunity for me to partner with someone who's doing amazing things. And we're going to get you some of these resources so that you can log off. Maybe we're going to come back and do another video in a year or something. And we're going to see and we're going to be like, hey, we realize we might not even have good reception because you're on an island somewhere where they don't even have good service, because it's not for the rest of the world. It's for the people who made it. And
look, I might have to book that trip specifically for the video.
You will. Look, we're going to plan the trip. And then we're just gonna have the virtual background of your shop. And we'll be like, thank y'all, and turn off the virtual background. And you're gonna see all the waves and everything in the background. And we're gonna run a credit list of all the team that's come up and is helping you. Because as much as your business is growing, it is important that you have the opportunity to enjoy that growth. And not just enjoy it from the place of standing back or being on the cover of magazines and saying, oh, I did this, but from the position of, I can afford the lifestyle I want. That is what I advocate for within my Wealth Journey. You should have goals in mind of what you want in life, whatever happiness, peace, good health look like for you. So maybe I shouldn't say sacrifice your 20s, but I'm just telling you that's a good time. It's a good period. But if for you, sacrificing your 20s is like what makes sense, go for what that goal.
Honestly, I'm excited for my 30s.
I mean, no, the 30s. Let me tell you something. This rich
like life. The 30s. I feel like, honestly, this is why I say I sacrifice my 20s. Because right now I'm still in here doing all the physical labor. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to, because it's like, if I'm not here, I only have 2 employees right now. So if I'm not here, Cranky Granny can't open. So I won't be able to fund that anymore, or something's gonna have to sacrifice. So that's why I say I'm sacrificing my 20s for now. I feel like within the next 2 years, and this is truly one of my goals, for me to get out of the kitchen. I don't care if I'm still doing behind the scenes work, but for me to get out of the kitchen, because I've essentially been doing this since I was 15. So like, taking a toll on me. But I feel like in those 30s, that's when I'm gonna have my most fun. I don't gotta worry about if I can't get in the 25 and over club or anything like that.
The 30s are nice. I am blessed and enjoying my life. And I also need you to run up to one of these college campuses. UT has a large presence here, and run up and be like, "You want this part-time job?" Because I know somebody out here is hungry. The labor market, I mean, the minimum wage might not be the best for your bottom line, but somebody will come up in there. If we were back in DC, I'd be like, I'm gonna send you 3 names right now, people that will come to work on Monday. Ready to go.
I think I'm happy to go over to UT.
Yeah, get you somebody. I was always like, go get, or you know what? As strong as your brand is, you could probably simply put a post on your socials that says hiring, afternoon shift, whatever. And I guarantee, I mean, I'm sure your DMs are already pretty flooded, but it'll be like another wave that comes in of I would love to work for your company. If I was 20 something and I had any kind of spare time right now, I would be like, I mean, I could pick up a weekend shift or something. But yeah, you're the success you have will be that much more beneficial, impactful when you are able to step away. So I'm glad you have that as your vision. And you're right, the 30s are wonderful. I feel like it's
like 33 I keep thinking about. I feel like 33 is gonna be like my magic year.
Yeah, 33. I said the same thing. 33, I think, was the year the pandemic. 33 hit hard. It was the year the pandemic. So I just knew, because I think I had a hashtag loving all of me at 33 or something like that. I just knew I was gonna blow up at 33. And Rona said, "You can sit down. You can have."
Look, I turned 21 when Rona hit.
Yeah.
So but I will say this: I went out with a bang because it was my girlfriend's birthday. We went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything. We didn't know why everybody was buying toilet paper. We didn't know anything that was going on. So this is how close it was to the pandemic. Honestly, if we would have stayed in Puerto Rico maybe a few more days, they probably wouldn't have let us fly back. That's how much of a bang I went out with. We didn't know anything was going on.
Right. Yes. You were landing on the plane like, y'all good? Like, why everybody?
Yeah, we got off the plane and we went to the grocery store, and we all we just kept hearing was go shopping, go shop. So we went and did a big old shopping trip for food and everything. And it just so happened that very next day, I believe, her job called her, or it was that same day, her job called her and let her know, like, hey, we're gonna be closed for the rest of the week. Rest of the week from, y'all not coming back. Yeah.
Remember when we foolishly used to all think that it was going to last like a few weeks? We're like, oh, I'll be back by spring break. Lies they told. Here we are, years later.
2 years later,
barely emerging. I mean, we hibernated. Let's not skip over the fact that meant you kept your business open during the pandemic when people did not know if they could breathe near each other, much less eat community food or go to a restaurant. Because I know the fear factor that was. I mean, I was like, I need somebody else's kitchen. I don't care if they did.
Honestly, I was still doing everything out of an apartment back home in Jersey. And when the pandemic hit, I was like, man, this is about to crush me. I'm like, this is about to crush me. But fortunately, my girl, the way I met my girlfriend was at Pink. So I used to work at Victoria's Secret, and she was a manager there. So I was like, God forbid I gotta go work for somebody again. I'm just gonna go back to Pink. But I stopped selling food platters for a few weeks because I was like, nobody's gonna want to buy them because like this COVID stuff is going crazy. Honestly, my business picked up like when COVID hit. I stopped selling for about 3 weeks, and then when I came back, everything was up.
You know why? Because we want food. Because the calories we consumed in those first 2 months,
let me tell you.
The comfort food was like, I just need to feel like something's right in the world. And this whatever it is, in this case, sweet roll, is going to get me there. There was also like a ridiculous surge in alcohol consumption. Because it was like,
I don't drink much, so I
it was like, I guess, especially DC is very brunch and happy hour, but just in general, people were at home and they were like, well, I mean, I got off work and I couldn't go anywhere, so I just made my own happy hour. Like bottles were moving. Also, people, I think they thought they could distill it in some way and get the sugar out of it and use it as sanitizer, which was just like, I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that's how that goes.
You want to be your own version of Bill Nye, go off, do you, boo, do you? But I don't think that's how it is. Anyway, this has been delightful. I really appreciate you, and I'm gonna make one more last one rolling with us. So fine. I really appreciate you coming by, getting down with us, just sharing all this great knowledge, being yourself. This is a great conversation. I enjoyed talking with you. And for everyone,
I appreciate you for letting me on.
Oh, of course. You're welcome to come back. Like I said, we're gonna come back in a year. Y'all don't forget to put in the comments how you these assistance we need to keep this moving forward. But in the meantime, if people are trying to find you, where can they find you? What's the website, whatever social media handles, whatever you can do to help people stay connected to you?
So you can find us on our website at crankygrannies.com, on Facebook or Meta, Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls, on TikTok at Sweet Roll Diller. I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
Y'all, it's okay. Look, this is real life right here. This is what happens when you gotta multitask. When you are the entrepreneur, this is also your reminder right now. Go ahead and put in the comments the virtual assistant, the person that can open the door, everything that's she does not, because she's got interviews. She's gonna be talking to Big Boy next or something like that. Like she got to pick up FedEx. Like, y'all go ahead now, give her the comments, give her the help.
So actually, you guys will see us doing something with Disney pretty soon as well. I think that's what that's exactly what just came through for Disney's Lion King. Yep.
Okay. So your website.
You guys, crankygrannies.com, Facebook or Meta, Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls, on TikTok, Sweet Roll Diller, on Twitter and Instagram at Cranky Grannies. So it's all of our social media connects and our website and everything like that. And I'm very responsive. So if you guys shoot me over an inbox or anything like that, an email, a text, a call, I'm always responding. So
she really is. She responded to me. I'm in my humble beginnings.
Let me mention the store as well too. I'm sorry. 10910 Domain Drive, Suite 106, Austin, Texas. If you're familiar with the domain, we're on the iPic movie theater side where the Maggiano's and the Bath and Body Works and Brass Tap is.
Yes, and Tiffany's.
Yeah, Tiffany.
That's in that too. Just don't forget, she's up here with Maggiano's. She's here with national brands. Thank you so much, Sianni Dean, for joining us. Thank you. We wish much more success, but we don't have to just wish it because we know what's coming for Cranky Granny Sweet Rolls. And thank you again for joining.
No problem. Thank you.